I mean, I think you're talking
Yeah.
about that initial anger, that people the frustration. I mean, Sally, you find that when you're doing the initial triage, don't you, as well? It's sort of very it's difficult from a professional point of view to absorb all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it is still quite shocking that some of our referrals, we know they're time limited prognosis because they're coming with a medical certificate. And what those certificates are saying are the date that they were diagnosed with cancer is also the date that they've got a time limited prognosis. And then, as Andrew said, a lot of those clients are end of life. So we're contacting them, and the hospice is getting involved. And sadly, sometimes, those patients don't live very long at all. So yes, there's all sorts of emotions for patients and their families, understandably.
We haven't got a representative from us from Richard's team, Citizens for St Richard's team here today, but I think that is quite striking as well. Sometimes the first referral point that we get from a client is once they've actually got to the St Richard's team, which shows you how fast they've moved from, seeing a medic, they're going more or less straight to the hospice, so that's whereas you might have expected some kind of contact with the information centres before that, but it's obviously moved so quickly now. So I don't know if Rachel at the Hereford Hospital, I don't know if you're there or I can see your name, but I can't.
She messaged the group, Sonia, to say that she's having to dip in and out. So
fair enough. So she's not there at the moment.
She may not be able to speak. I'm not sure.
Well, obviously, she might be speaking to somebody who can get she's in quite an open area. Yes, I mean, it's not many of us here today, but I can see Sharon that you're obviously, if you've got anything to add from your team's perspective.
Sonia, what we're sort of doing here at the Worcester City PCN is concentrating on prevention. So we're working very closely with Prostate Cancer UK, trying to find these 15,000 men that still, need to be found following COVID. We're working really hard with them and a local prostate cancer support group, Kidderminster and Worcester Prostate Cancer Support Group as well. We're doing a lot of work with local businesses. So we've been to the local cricket ground and we've had prostate cancer awareness there. We did some women's cancer as well. So, looking at breast cancer screening, bowel cancer screening, and cervical screening as well. That was quite disappointing, to be honest. The engagement there on Ladies' Day was very, very poor. I have worked in the hospice myself. I understand, what end stage cancer involves. So I get very passionate about this. And it's really quite, very disheartening, to be honest. We had the whole team there. We had the breast cancer nurse. We had nurses from our own primary care network, willing to sort of have those conversations. Hopefully, we were going to have with women, and they really were not interested. In fact, we had more men come to us about prostate cancer, just wanting to talk about that, than we did about the cancers that we were actually wanting to talk about that particular day, because it was Ladies' Day, sorry. So it does go on for us. We will be focusing on this more. We're working with West Mercia Police as well. I'm doing a bowel cancer presentation for them. Worcester County Council, again, doing some presentations about the common cancers, just raising awareness, really. We have got thousands of women in the Worcester area who are not attending their cervical screening. We're doing drop-ins as well. I don't know whether you're aware of those. We are doing a drop-in every month at one of our practices in Worcester City for Worcester City women. It's a cervical screening drop-in, so people can come and just not make an appointment. They know it's on, usually on a Saturday morning between 9 and 1. And we've been doing a couple of evenings as well. The last evening one was a really roaring success. We had a lot of women coming to have their screening in the evening because they can't get there on a Saturday morning. They can't get there during the week when their appointments are, you know, scheduled. So that was really successful. We'll be doing some work in Asda as well in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Again, I'm working with the local breast screening team in that, a local veterans group as well. So, you know, we're sort of thinking outside the box and getting into the community. So yeah.
That's really good news that the council are behind trying to do the preventive side of that's what needs to come up again now, isn't it? The awareness and
Yeah.
try and get back to where we were. I mean, it was waiting lists and delays before the pandemic, but
yes,
yeah. I mean, it'd be lovely to help you sort of advertise that. If you've got any sort of either social media posts or posters we can put on our website for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sonia. I've just realised that now you're not included in that. So if you wouldn't mind, we could include you in any of that promotion for you to share. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Really interesting you say, Sharon, about, sorry, Sonia, it's really interesting you say that the prostate pickup is good at the moment, because men are often the most difficult, aren't they? But I know that, you know, you've got the chap off Midlands today, Nick, can't think of his surname.
Yeah, Nick Owen.
Yeah, so he's just come, you know, done quite a lot of stuff around that. So I think that there's a real link with that, isn't there? And I know with bowel cancer, with the bowel lovely lady that died last year, that raised awareness. It seems to be when it's in the public arena like that,
it does.
People come forward.
It does, yes. And I don't think I mentioned that we had a lot of support from the Worcester Racecourse back in the summer. We did the Plum Festival. We had a big stand in conjunction with Prostate Cancer UK, and they gifted us a race. So we called it Don't Wait, Check Your Prostate. They gave us so a lot of advertising on the big screen for the Primary Care Network and the cancer charities that we were supporting us, and again in their race cards. So they've been very keen to get behind us. You know, it was publicized on Sky TV. You know, the race was, we were, you know, we were all we felt like royalty, to be honest. So, you know, the big organizations, particularly Asda as well, they really are behind us. But yeah, I mean, men are worried about prostate cancer. There's no two ways about it, because there isn't a national screening program out there. They are worried. Yeah. And they just want to be able to, so, you know, to get some sort of check. And we are promoting the PSA blood test. We are aware that, you know, it's not straightforward. You know, if it's high, it's not necessarily cancer at all. But we're sort of getting that message out there. And yeah, it's something that we'll continue to do, because there's only me and there's 130,000 of our patients. We cover 10 practices. I can't go into that, you know, supporting every individual, because it's way too much. So you know, we've taken the other approach of supporting the NHS long-term plan of getting cancer diagnosed at an earlier stage, and I feel there's a need for that. I really do.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I do work very closely with the hospice as well. There's a networking breakfast on Friday. I don't know whether you're aware of that. And I'll be at that as well. So yeah. It's a shame the team aren't there at the meeting actually today. You know, the ladies that do all the referrals for you know, financial support and things, because do they normally attend this meeting at the from the hospice? Yeah, yeah.
One of our team there, but
yes, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just, people are referred. When I was at the hospice, I was making the referrals to yourselves. It's always a last minute thing. They don't really know about what you do until we put them in touch with our family support team, and you know, they then take that referral forward. But yeah. But you know, of course I spread the word as well about, you know, Macmillan. We're having a Macmillan coffee morning actually on Tuesday. So that's in Worcester, and just let me just check that location. That's been a bit of a last minute thing really, because we've got so much going on here. Just bear with me a second.
It's hard to remember, isn't it? You know, what pre-pandemic looks like now, but you know, people can't get to see GPs, can they? They just can't.
It's hard, isn't it?
Can't get in. And I'm trying to think, was it always like that pre-pandemic, or are we blaming everything on the pandemic, or is it just that the whole NHS seems to me falling apart a bit?
It is falling apart, really. Yeah, it is. It's very difficult. That's why we, you know, the primary care team like ourselves have been brought in to support the GP practices. We've got an acute visiting service which consists of paramedics. I think we've got, you know, 3 or 4 of them daily that go out to do home visits on behalf of the GPs, because they can't always get out to patients. You know, we've got a nursing team, we've got the mental health team, health and wellbeing team. You know, it's all to support these GP practices which are Worcester based.
Yeah.
That where we're going to be on Tuesday is actually the Granary. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of it. It's the Granary right by Asda, and they are kindly giving us their like cafe area where we can do a Macmillan coffee morning. So, you know, I'm working very closely with Ben Furlow as well from the organisation. So it's good that, you know, we are coming together, and you know, yeah, trying to you know, link primary and secondary care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just sort of on an
Mm.
anecdotal level, even thinking of my own GP practice, I've got, you know, they used to have, when I joined years ago, sort of 6 full-time GPs. Now there's 2, and the rest are locals. I think doctors have left; they haven't been replaced, so it's all just a perfect storm after. Some probably left in the pandemic, and it's made it even worse. So yeah, you're right, Angie. It's very difficult to know when it went wrong, but it does feel much more difficult now, definitely. Okay. See, other people are maybe busy with their cameras off. I'll just shout them out in case. Joe, are you busy? Are you there? I will. Obviously, Joe's the Hereford Macmillan team.
I'm here.
Hello, Joe. You've got a bit of news of what's going on in Hereford with the MRU and stuff like that.
It's just to echo everybody else, really, that, you know, it's obviously really busy at the moment. We're getting a lot of referrals through from the Macmillan, the Cancer Information Centre at the Hereford MRU, working closely with Rachel and her team. But yeah, I mean, just the feedback from the advisors really is, whereas before they could have some straightforward benefit checks and things, that it seems that every referral that's coming through is quite complex. So that's what the feedback we're getting, really.
Rachel, can see you there. I mean, I was just talking to Jo. She was saying how many referrals we're getting through from your team as well. So it's obviously up and running now that you've taken over there, and we're trying to get back into outreach, doing appointments there as well. So how do you feel it's going there? What sort of how are you finding the levels of people coming to you?
It comes in waves. It really does. It's sort of, you can deal with about 5 in one day, and then you don't have any for a week or so. But I think the biggest challenge I've found is, and I know you mentioned it right at the beginning, and it can come in such, the SR1 forms. It's been a big, from my point of view, really educating the clinical nurse specialists and the consultants, and because it seems to be sort of, it's not a great way to do things when, and it's no disrespect to the Macmillan team, but because when you get an email from them saying, can you say if this referral is SR1, we have to suddenly run and try and find out, because we can't approach the patients. We're non-clinical. We can't approach the patients and discuss SR1. A lot of them don't understand. They sort of get excited. Oh, I've been told I need an SR1 form. And we have to sort of dampen that down and say, okay, who told you that? So it comes in waves, and a lot of people don't understand what it means to be referred to Macmillan, the CAB team. So once we tell them, you can see a relief. What we're trying to do is, and this will be piloting it a bit, is trying to get out to a couple of the wards and put our information out there. And the biggest one that's come back is it would be great for finance, because that's one of the biggest worries, that, and if we can take those worries away from the patient or the carer. So if we can do that, it wouldn't be so much visiting it, but it would be signposting people from the wards to come to us.
And that's obviously making it as easy as possible for patients.
Cool.
Yeah. Obviously from our perspective, if it were our team doing it, you've got confidentiality issues and things like that. We're talking like a full household benefit check and their ins and outs. But yeah, there are ways to do things to make it as easy as possible for people. Yeah. Obviously it was quite a small team here today. We usually have sort of quite a few more of us joining, so it might be quite a small meeting. I'll just check him. Did you say Kim was on the phone, Ange? Yeah, well, don't worry, she'll come if she can. And then we've got Maisie, I can see. I don't know whether she's available just to contribute what her team are doing.
Sonia, your sound keeps dipping in and out. I don't know if it's your microphone or something, but
Okay, well, no, I mean, I'm as close as I can be to it. Perhaps this laptop's getting tired and old. So, no, I was just checking everybody's contributed that they want to, whether or not Maisie's there or Kim's there. But yeah, but I know it's quite a small group today. But just from our point of view, and particularly for Andrew, to let you know, I mean, obviously getting cover for your unit from our advisors. Carol Pratt, who's the manager on that side of things, she's on leave this week. I had a very quick message from her to say she thinks she's made some progress, so I might have some good news soon for you. Yeah, I'm just waiting for her to come back from holiday, so yeah, that should be good. We'll start getting back to normal.
Sonia, can I ask from anybody, because this is still a learning curve for me. I got the email from Macmillan themselves to say that the Macmillan grant had been reduced, and there's it's a tighter requirement requisite for means testing, so it's below £1,000. And I was just wondering, you know, people come rushing in saying, "Oh, I've heard I can get a Macmillan grant." We do now sort of. We don't raise expectations from them, but it's just how many actually do, perhaps from our transfer, you know, our referrals from Macmillan grant eligibility, how many actually are successful?
Probably hard to guess. I'd say probably of the people who get referred for, maybe 70-80% are eligible, and then the others, we turn up that they've actually got more in savings than they realized or something. Yeah, but that will be changing from October, like you say. So the new savings threshold is only £1,000. So I expect it's probably going to be more like 50-50, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a bit of a roundup of what's going on. It's just nice to touch base with people doing working with the same sort of patient or client group, and just to know we're not alone, really, in the stresses and strains of it, and nice to share with each other. So, as usual, we circulate the recording for anyone that's not been here. and we'll set another date for a little bit of a catch up in. So it'll be a December one, won't it? It will be Jingle Bells.
Sonia, just before you do that, I've got 3 updates
Of
from a
course you
couple
have,
of
Sally. You did.
people. Yeah,
You did warn me. Yes, you. Yeah. Of
sorry.
course, let them have their news. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one's from Chris Byrne, who's the director for Worcestershire House Watch, that follows the theme about prostate cancer. So he said, sorry, he couldn't come today. We have helped out, so that's Health Watch, the KWPC UK, with a survey on men who attended a PSA testing event in Pershore, and will be attending another prostate networking event this week. We're aiming to support this work on publicising the need for men over 50 to be more aware of prostate cancer. So that kind of follows on. The next update is from Jean Brown, who's the secretary for Ross Cancer Support Group. Premises for their meeting, that they're moving their location to St Mary's Church Hall due to a huge increase in rental. This will be more central for people living in Ross. They've had to change the date of their meetings and timings, so they're going to be the first Tuesday of the month, commencing the 3rd of October, and from 6 to 8 p.m. Ross Town Council, the Cancer Support Group, are hoping to apply to the council for funding to produce new leaflets to promote the change of venue and timings. And then also they've got a Macmillan coffee morning on Friday, the 29th of September, which is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that's the update from Jean. And then the last one is from Di Fox, who's Active Always physical activity instructor. So they're having an active coffee morning, which is a combination of exercise class and coffee morning. I'm basically reading her notes. Successful pilot run at the start of the year, so top-up funding provided by Macmillan and matched by Active Herefordshire and Worcestershire. A patient donation ensures that the session will continue to be free to participants for at least a further 12 to 18 months. Referrals come via Macmillan, clinical nurse, specialist teams, support groups, and physiotherapists. Di's doing a prostate cancer Zoom exercise class, which runs every Monday and is funded by KWPCSG, so it's free. She also does oncology walking football, and that's the 6th anniversary last month. Referrals are beginning to pick up post-COVID. They've had a couple of female players join, inspired by the Lionesses, of course. The team won the Movers and Shakers tournament in June, and a couple of our players have been playing for the England kicking cancer team over the summer. Another important area of Di's work, networking and wellbeing events, which include health and wellbeing events, WBUH Wellbeing Days, KWPC SG support group meetings, and GUTSY support group meetings. And finally, the Can Rehab Revalidation of Cancer and Exercise Award was achieved last week. And Di's also sent out an example of kind of the different classes she does in the week, and I'll attach that when I send out the recording of the meeting. I just think, Sonia, the other thing is Kim was saying the sound's connected again, so I don't know if Kim's got anything she wants to contribute.
Okay, yeah, we'll give her an opportunity, Kim.
Can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
Hello guys, hi. I would just like to say I agree with what Angie Gillett was saying. A lot of the people I'm getting now I think I've had 4 patients this week alone that the first contact they've had with anyone at all is I'm sending them to Kemp, and it's that's staggering that they've had no contact. For some reason they don't even know about Macmillan, which I don't understand at all. But they're at that stage that they're already going to Kemp. Thankfully, Kemp is picking up on everything. But now, yesterday, Kemp have actually reached out to me for me to support their patients. Just a listening ear, because they're so distressed that they're now at the stage of going to Kemp. Now they know about Macmillan, and so Kemp are asking me to take over some of their cases, and I think it's awful. I've had a couple of patients that are I think are actually slipping through the cracks, breast cancer patients that have had no I know that what's her name, Emma Simpson, the metastatic breast care nurse, is relatively new in post. And I think a lot of the reasons that those patients are slipping through the cracks is because they didn't have any support. Metastatic breast cancer patients, that now that Emma is here, she still isn't aware of some of the people that are now at that stage that they're going to Kemp. And I think that was a lack of CNS support, because there wasn't any metastatic. I think you probably would agree with that, Ange. But it is really difficult that we're getting quite, I don't like to say the word aggressive, but they are relatives and patients that are quite angry that they feel that they've slipped through the cracks as well. And as a Macmillan support worker, trying to pick up on those and smooth what's left of their pathway is quite difficult.
Yeah, it is. I would totally agree. And I think you're right that, the more staff that come into post, the more patients we're going to pick up, which is a good, obviously a good thing. But yeah, I think we're all feeling that, aren't we, Kim, that we are
Definitely.
battering rods at the moment for lots of people, which is completely understandable, but not great. And I think we've always said, haven't we, we just got to keep talking about it to each other and offloading a little bit, just so it makes it a bit easier.
Hello.
Yeah.
The patients here.
Okay.
CNSs are perhaps not having time or bit aware that make a signpost to Macmillan. You think that's where it's slipping up at the moment?
I don't know myself, because at Kidderminster, and I know at the Alex as well, we are so visible, Ange and I, on the wards. The hub now at Kidderminster is open 5 days a week. I'm leaving leaflets everywhere within the hospital, so I'm unsure as to where it's falling down. Really, I really don't understand what more we can do.
It sounds very difficult. Whether or not, sometimes what we've done in Hereford Hospital in the past is join one of the CNS team meetings just to update them what's there at the service. But if you're very visible in your information centres, it does make you wonder why they haven't seen you, that you're there anyway. Yeah.
And I know also both Ange and I, when the patients are first put on the pathway, they've seen an oncologist, then they're referred to the treatment wards. We now have managed to get the wards to allow us to put their sign, the green card. I've forgotten what it's called now.
We'll point you in the right direction.
Point you in the right direction. We're managing to get those in with those patients before they've even started treatment, which is great. That's something that we've had to sort of push for. So they know about us in the very beginning, and yet for some reason they're not reaching out. I don't understand.
Could be the age old Macmillan thing, or Macmillan's only end of life. So
yeah,
That's true,
but yeah,
people don't want to admit that at the first stage of diagnosis and treatment.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Very difficult. I think all we can do is support each other. It is a little bit of time to offload because we're all in a difficult role. Although we might not have any particular actions that come out of this meeting, it's just nice to touch base with each other when we're all referring and working and sort of in the same network. Then, yeah.
Great.
Sonia, could I just add to what Kim and Anja said, is that the importance of, well, how valued the team working between the Macmillan pod staff and us, because I have to say Ange and I quite often pick up patients that have slipped through the net, not with a diagnosis, but with the range of services, and are asking us questions which go way beyond the benefits brief, and with the patient's consent, we refer them back to Ange or Claire or Kim at the pods, and are very grateful for how quickly they pick those patients up and help them. So it does happen, and fortunately we can work together to help those patients. So I just wanted to say again how much we appreciate all the support for patients from Ange and Claire and Caroline and Kim at the pods in Worcestershire. I'm sure it's the same in Hereford.
Yeah, very much likewise, and thank you for that. And we're absolutely, we're of course we're here to help, and you know, yeah, goes without saying.
Totally, I agree.
Yeah, because I know, yeah, it's been tricky resource-wise, and you've been wonderful at directing the right clients to the right place. So yeah, okie doke. So have you got your calendar, Sally? Where will we fall for the next one?
You were right. Sorry, before I deflected things.
No, there was a lot more to say, actually, wasn't there? Yeah, yeah.
Sorry. So it'll be December again. So today we're doing it on a Wednesday. So I don't know if you want to look at a date in December. We do the 5th of December or the 12th of December.
5th, then it gets quite often people start taking leave and doing other things, don't they, when you get a bit nearer Christmas. So yeah, 5th of December to catch up with each other and see what's going on.
Tuesday the 5th at 10. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be in touch with Kim and Anne shortly, hopefully next week sometime. Yeah, it's more...
I'm on leave after today.
Okay.
Your Kim's around, or obviously Claire Arthur. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.